Ladies and gentlemen, Duncan Hunter, and as you may have seen over the last couple of days, I have been kept out of the presidential debates, the ABC debate and the Fox News debate. And while I have expertise in the area of foreign policy and national security, being the only person running, Democrat or Republican, who's actually chaired a major security committee, and I could have provided lots of good information in the ABC and Fox debates when they talked about the nuclear weapons development in places like Iran and the Pakistan Strip situation with respect to Afghanistan, and of course the troop rotations that are taking place in Iraq. I was not there to give my position and take my part in that debate. Some knucklehead executive in ABC closed me out. And similarly, Fox News decided not to allow me to take place in the Fox News debate on Sunday. And you know, in the interim between making that initial decision and the debates, something took place. It was called the Wyoming caucuses. And in the Wyoming caucus, I won a delegate. In fact, I now have an officially declared delegate. And as I understand the rules, that means that guys like John McCain, who had 0 delegates, and Rudy Giuliani, who had 0 delegates, were allowed to attend these 2 debates, but a guy who actually had some points on the scoreboard, that was myself, was not allowed to attend the debates because some knucklehead, arrogant executive in the corporate media world of ABC and Fox News in some 3rd or 4th story glass office decided that my campaign was over and the lights were going to be shut out on my campaign. So against that backdrop, ABC and Fox have been asking us when I'm going to quit. So here's my answer. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to continue. I'm not going to let some arrogant corporate media executive, by blacking me out, by taking me off the presidential debates, just a few hours before the polls are open, decide whether or not this campaign is over. The voters will have to decide when this campaign is over. And that means no matter what happens in New Hampshire, I am off to South Carolina. I'm going to talk about jobs. I'm going to talk about keeping the industrial base here. I'm going to talk about standing up to communist China, stopping them from cheating on trade, bringing back jobs for Americans. I'm going to talk about national defense. And you know, I could have offered a lot in that debate the other night when they talked about border control, because I've built the border fence in San Diego that works so well. And I wrote the law that takes it across Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. And as President of the United States, I will complete that border fence, all 854 miles, in 6 months. So to the arrogant corporate executives, the media corporate executives, who think that they're going to determine when the lights go out in the campaign, I would ask them this question. What burden have you borne out there? Or when did you serve in uniform? How many of your children have gone out and served in the Iraq or Afghanistan theater? What have you done that gives you the right to decide that the voters won't get to decide? In the Fox News, it says, we report, you decide. I guess what they really meant was we report, you decide, unless one of our executives in a glass office building 10 stories above the mall in New York City makes a decision for you. So we're going to continue to fight in this campaign, and regardless of what happens in New Hampshire, we're doing great in New Hampshire, incidentally. And during the debate that they had on ABC, instead of being in that debate, I had a teletown meeting here in New Hampshire with General Chuck Yeager endorsing my campaign, former U.S. Senator Bob Smith, and we had a teletown meeting attended by 3,100 independent voters in New Hampshire. So that was our counterpunch to the debates. Now we're going to continue to run a strong campaign. We've got radio and television. We're meeting lots of great voters out there. But I am not going to quit, Mr. Corporate Executive, to think you can turn out the lights on this campaign by blanking out my television, by taking me off the debates just 72 hours before the polls open. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm also calling on the independent voters of New Hampshire, people with a lot of spirit, people that don't like to be told who to vote for and who the winners are, to come out and support independence by supporting a strong national defense, enforceable borders, and jobs for America. That's my campaign, and that's how we're going to win the presidency of the United States. Thank you very much. And I did say that I wasn't going to complain about being left out of those debates, so I hope I haven't been too hard on those corporate executives. But when they come down for lunch out of those glass buildings, let them know about the press conference. Thank you very much, and I've got to run and do a fast CNN shot here, which is rapidly becoming my favorite cable news channel. Thank you very much. Oh, and I got one last thing. You know, No Child Left Behind was an act that required lots of testing. I want to give a test to the corporate executives who made the decision to blank me out of television by taking me off those debates. 1 is greater than 0. I have an official delegate from the caucuses that I won in Wyoming. To my understanding, Mr. Giuliani and Mr. McCain have 0. No official delegates at this point. And I always thought that 1 was greater than 0, even though they were allowed to go on those debate platforms. So maybe No Child Left Behind will, at some point, catch up with arrogant corporate executives. Thank you, folks.
Hey, Duncan.
Have a great day.
Hey, Duncan.
Oh, and I'd be happy to take questions.
Okay.
And,
hey, Duncan, it was clear.
Yeah.
It was
Billy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
I've gotten shorter in my old age.
Yeah.
It's been clear since, well before the ABC or the Fox News debates, that Huckabee and even Ron Paul were getting a lot more support than you, although you share common ground with them on many issues. How do you explain that? Why hasn't your campaign developed the kind of legs, for example, that the Huckabee campaign has?
Well, listen, I'm not going to talk about the other guys' campaigns. I'm going to talk about what I stand for. Strong national defense, enforceable borders, bringing back high-paying manufacturing jobs, and obviously, at some point in the race, you need to catch fire with your campaign. Now, interestingly, Finley, if the arrogant corporate executives had made the decision to blank Mike Huckabee out of the debates in July, he wouldn't be where he was today. So the point is, when you're 72 hours away from the voters deciding, why should Fox News decide? And why should ABC decide? That's the point. Any other questions? Yes, sir, over here.
Does your criticism of ABC and Fox mean that you won't go on those stations again or do interviews with those stations?
No, it means that I will call in fine gentlemen when I come on their stations. But obviously, you continue to communicate with the news. But let me tell you, I'll be happy to tell them. And in fact, I'm going over to CNN right now. But I will always be happy to tell them, to give them my opinion of this idea of blanking out the campaign 72 hours before the polls. I think that's a dumb thing to do. I think it was done by a knucklehead, and write that down, a knucklehead, corporate executive, and I think it's the height of arrogance for American corporate media leaders to decide who's going to be on the ballot and who's going to be in front of the public a few hours before the election. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll see you on the streets campaign. God bless you. Oh yeah, I think we will get momentum in the West. Absolutely. Now we've got to get over to